I'm a 38-year-old guy, married for 12 years, with 2 kids under 10. Life was normal, I guess. I had a steady job at a mid-sized marketing firm. My wife, let's call her Lena, worked part-time from home, and weekends were for soccer games, family dinners, or Netflix. We were that boring, comfortable couple everyone assumed had it all figured out. I loved Lena, or at least I thought I did. We had our fights, sure, but nothing dramatic. I trusted her completely, maybe too much. Life was predictable, and I liked it that way. But I started noticing little things that didn't make sense. Lena began working late. From home, taking longer showers, or suddenly insisting she had errands in the middle of the week. I told myself I was imagining it. Stress, work pressure, kids, it had to be nothing. Right. Looking back, I wish I hadn't ignored those tiny alarms. They were flashing signs of a storm I had no idea was brewing. It all started a year before I found out. Lena had developed this friendship with my boss, Tom. At first, I thought it was harmless. Lena was naturally outgoing, Tom seemed lonely, and they had work in common. She'd come home buzzing about great ideas from Tom, or mention how he appreciated her input on some project. I felt proud. Then the subtle things began. Lena started texting more at night, sometimes chuckling at her phone, or disappearing for half an hour to run errands, when she was clearly just sitting in her car. I asked once who she was messaging, and she brushed it off with a shrug. Just work stuff, she said, and I believed her. I knew Tom was married too, but Lena often said she wanted to help my career, how she thought a close relationship with him could benefit me. I didn't think much of it at the time. I trusted both of them completely. By the time I noticed the patterns, it was too late. I'd already allowed a stranger into the most intimate part of my life, and I didn't even know it. The first real red flag came one Thursday night. I was up late finishing a report, and Lena said she was just stepping out to get groceries. I didn't think twice. But an hour later, I noticed her phone buzzing nonstop on the counter. I don't know why, but I grabbed it. It was a series of messages from Tom. Not work-related at all. Flirty, teasing, the kind that made my stomach drop the second I read them. My hands shook. My mind screamed denial. No, this isn't real. She wouldn't, would she? I left the phone on the counter and went to bed, pretending nothing had happened. But sleep didn't come. I kept replaying every errand she had run, every late night at work, every casual comment about Tom. Suddenly, what I had dismissed as harmless interactions looked like carefully staged breadcrumbs. That night, a seed of doubt was planted. And once it started growing, there was no way to ignore it. I confronted her the next evening. I tried to sound calm, careful, like I could handle the truth. Lena, I saw the messages. What's going on? I remember the pause, the way her face went pale, like she'd been caught but didn't know how much I knew. She stuttered at first, said something about just joking, it was nothing serious. I pressed harder, and finally, the words came. I slept with him. But it wasn't about me, it was, for you. To help your career. I laughed nervously, because I thought I misheard. For me? I asked, my voice cracking. She nodded, tears in her eyes. I thought, if he liked me, he'd support you. He deserved it, he needed it. I couldn't speak. My mind was spinning. Love, betrayal, disgust, and a terrifying realization that my wife had crossed the line I thought unbreakable. I couldn't breathe. My chest felt like it was being crushed by something I couldn't name. Anger, disbelief, shame, it all mixed together, burning through me like acid. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to vanish. But I just sat there, staring at her, hearing the confession echoing in my skull. I kept asking, why? How could you do this to me? She cried, saying again that it was for me. That she didn't mean to hurt me. That she just wanted to help. I wanted to throw up. Everything I thought I knew about us, about trust, about love, shattered in a single sentence. My hands shook. My heart raced. I felt hollow. I wanted to hit something, anyone, anything, but instead I just backed away. I don't even remember leaving the room, just wandering the house in a daze. The kids were asleep, thank God. I couldn't look at them yet. I couldn't look at her. The confrontation was a nightmare I'll never forget. I demanded answers, refused to let her dodge. You say this is for me? You ruined everything for me, I shouted, pacing the living room. She sobbed, tried to justify, tried to manipulate. I wanted him to like you. I thought it would help your project. I didn't think you'd find out. I wanted her to feel the betrayal, the raw hurt I was feeling, but all she could do was cry and mumble excuses. I couldn't stop asking. Did you love him? Did you want him? Her silence screamed louder than any words. I couldn't reconcile the Lena I loved with the Lena in front of me. I felt sick, humiliated, trapped in a nightmare where nothing made sense. She begged for forgiveness, and all I could do was stare, feeling something in me die that night. For weeks, I was a ghost in my own life. Every little thing reminded me of the betrayal. The sound of her laughter, the way she glanced at her phone, even my own reflection, it all felt tainted. I kept asking myself, was I blind all this time? Did I deserve this? Sleep became impossible. I'd lie awake at 3 a.m., replaying moments I had once cherished, trying to pinpoint when it all went wrong. My mind swung wildly between rage and grief. I loved her, but I hated her. I wanted to scream, but I wanted her near at the same time. Even at work, I felt exposed. Everyone seemed to notice my distraction, my quiet tension. I didn't want to talk to anyone, yet I couldn't stop obsessing. Her betrayal was like a virus, infecting everything, my thoughts, my decisions, my ability to trust anyone again. It wasn't just hurt. It was an earthquake, leaving my entire world unstable, my hands trembling every time I tried to rebuild. Our marriage didn't end immediately, but it changed. Lena and I drifted into a tense, awkward coexistence. I couldn't touch her without remembering, couldn't speak without feeling bitterness simmer. The kids noticed some tension, and I hated that they were caught in the fallout of something so ugly. Work became unbearable. Seeing Tom in the office made me nauseous. I tried to pretend it didn't bother me, but every project, every meeting, was a reminder of the violation that had seeped into both my personal and professional life. Friends and family noticed my withdrawal. Some offered advice, others just stared, unsure how to react. I became hyper-aware of every interaction, every smile, every tone of voice. Trust became a concept I couldn't access anymore. The betrayal didn't just affect us, it infected our whole world. I lost my sense of safety, of certainty, of what love could really be. And I didn't know if I'd ever get it back. We tried counseling. At first, I wanted to believe it could help. I went to every session, sitting across from her, listening to her explanations and excuses, trying to make sense of the incomprehensible. She cried a lot, said she regretted it, promised she would never betray me again. I wanted to believe her, but every word felt like another knife twisting inside me. I asked questions over and over. Why him? Why now? Why me? She gave answers, none of which made any sense. And every answer only reminded me of what I had lost: innocence, trust, certainty. I wanted to forgive. Part of me desperately wanted to salvage our life, to rebuild the home and family I loved. But another part of me recoiled at her presence, haunted by the images of their secret and the fact that she had willingly destroyed the very thing I treasured. By the end of counseling, we were together, but broken. Even months later, the tension never fully faded. I'd catch myself staring at her phone, replaying conversations in my mind, imagining what she had said, what he had done. Every unexpected knock at the door, every sudden laugh, every work email from Tom was a jolt of panic. The intimacy between us disappeared. Not completely, but enough that I felt like a stranger in my own marriage. I loved her in a numb, mechanical way, because that was what remained, but the passion, the trust, the vulnerability, it was gone. I also hated myself for staying. For trying to make it work, for allowing the betrayal to linger. I wondered if people would judge me, call me weak, or blame me for not walking away immediately. Some nights, I questioned if I'd ever be able to love fully again, or if I'd carry this poison forever. The house felt smaller, the air heavier. Every corner held ghosts. The kids, thank God, never knew the full truth, but they could feel the shift. Dinner conversations became awkward, hugs felt mechanical, and their laughter sometimes made me wince because it reminded me of what I had lost with Lena. I tried to be present, but there was always a wall between us now, one built from betrayal and unspoken resentment. Relatives started noticing the tension, subtly questioning if we were okay. I lied, smiled, pretended everything was normal. But inside, I was unraveling. Every family event, every casual gathering, reminded me that our life wasn't normal anymore. The betrayal wasn't just between me and Lena, it had seeped into the atmosphere of our home. I also started questioning myself constantly. Had I missed signs? Could I have prevented this? My confidence, my self-esteem, even my identity as a husband and father, felt shattered. Trust became a foreign concept. Every text, every late-night email, every phone call triggered suspicion. I couldn't let go. I didn't just fear her cheating again. I feared feeling this helpless ever again. Our relationship turned into a cycle of apology, tolerance, resentment. Lena tried to rebuild it in small ways, cooking my favorite meals, doing thoughtful gestures, but every attempt felt hollow, because the foundation had crumbled. I also noticed how this affected my work. I second-guessed every interaction, every decision. Seeing Tom's name in an email, or hearing about him from coworkers sent waves of nausea. The betrayal followed me everywhere, bleeding into every part of my life, every thought, every moment I tried to enjoy. Even intimacy became a minefield. I wanted closeness, but I also feared it, feared the memories and the reminders of what I had lost. Over time, Lena and I settled into a strange, uneasy routine. We lived together, shared responsibilities, but the warmth, spontaneity, and closeness were gone. I talked, I listened, I even laughed sometimes, but always with a sense of hollowness, as if I were wearing someone else's skin. I stopped sharing my thoughts freely. My emotions were locked behind a wall I built to protect myself, but the wall also kept her out. I couldn't trust her to handle me without betrayal lingering in the shadows. And I couldn't trust myself to forgive completely. Some nights, I caught myself staring at the ceiling, thinking about what had happened, replaying her confession, the messages, the stolen moments. Rage, grief, love, resentment, they all swirled inside me, impossible to separate. And yet I stayed. Partly because I loved her, partly because of the kids, partly because the life we built was too entrenched to walk away from. But every day, I felt a little more detached, a little more like a stranger in my own home. Even years later, I carry pieces of that night everywhere. Certain smells, phrases, or even songs can trigger the memory of betrayal, and my stomach still knots like it did when I first saw the messages. I still love Lena, but not fully. I've learned to coexist with the memory of her choice, but it's a constant ache, a shadow over what could have been. Forgiveness doesn't feel complete, trust remains fractured. I've learned to laugh and engage with life, but always cautiously, always aware that the past can creep back in. I warn myself, sometimes bitterly, love doesn't guarantee safety, and even the people you trust most can break you. I don't think I'll ever look at infidelity the same way, or at trust. I still question my judgment, my worth, my ability to truly open up again. The wound is scarred over, but it's there. And it always will be. Looking back, I don't think there's a clean ending. Lena and I stayed together, but it's like living in a house with broken windows. You can patch the walls, but the cracks are always there, letting the cold in. I've learned that betrayal doesn't just hurt in the moment. It seeps into your daily life, your thoughts, your ability to trust, your sense of self. I've realized that love isn't always enough. Even deep attachment, shared history, and family ties can't erase a choice that shatters trust. I've had to rebuild myself slowly, piece by piece, learning to protect my heart while still being a husband, a father, and a human capable of connection. I still question myself, still replay the events, still feel flashes of rage or grief. But I've also learned resilience, the importance of boundaries, and the painful truth that sometimes, the people you love most are capable of hurting you in ways you can never fully prepare for. And the truth? That ache never really goes away, it just becomes part of who I am.